It is time to begin. Guests and members join in. To all of you who joined the meeting, we extend our warmest greeting. My name is Tamara Evans. I am your Sergeant at Arms. I will get the meeting started. I am in charge of time alarms. Don't forget to mute your phone. Cameras on, please. Smiles set the tone. Our theme is gratitude today. It's more than just a word to say. It's how we shine when skies are gray. It lifts our hearts and lights the way. Whether you're a guest or member, we will ask you to remember your unnecessary actions can be looked at as distractions. Let them stay behind the scene. For a while, turn off the screen. But as soon as you are done, turn the camera back on. Now listen to the warning. We are making a recording. If you don't want your face to show, it's no problem. Just let us know. Be ready for impromptu speaking. Cassie Choice will do the picking. Dear guests, it might be you asked to comment impromptu. Time to start. You've taken places. What joy to see your smiling faces. Our new President Vicky, an eloquent speaker, wise mentor, advisor, a great organizer, inspiring leader who strives to engage, is now ready to take the stage.
Come on, everybody. Let's hear it for our beloved Tamara. Thank you so much. You know, I listen to you and I'm riveted. So thank you for starting our meeting. This is the inaugural meeting of our new year. My role as president, I am so honored to be a founding member of this club, and I haven't been president for a few years, so I am excited to lead the charge again. We just established and finished our, was it our fourth year? 22. I think so. Maybe 3. I don't know. Maybe 4. And we are President's Distinguished once more. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. And for that, I am grateful for everyone in this virtual room. We have, our theme today is gratitude. And I'm going to ask our guests to say what you are grateful for today. So I'm going to start with Lynn Gilbert, who is also a speaker. We're looking so forward to your speech today, Lynn. If you could come off mute, tell us where you're from and what are you grateful for today? Oh, you're still on mute.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
am grateful to be part of your group today. And when I look at you, you're such an attractive bunch. I feel very comfortable. I'm also grateful today for giving this speech that I'm giving because it's made me review my life and it's made me think of it in a different context. It's a major step forward for me. So it sounds crazy. I'm grateful for that. I'm also nervous.
I know. Where are you from?
I'm from New York, and I'm a New Yorker from head to toe. I love living here. You all have heat. We have heat too. I think the whole world is heating up.
Thank you. I'm a New Yorker at heart. My father's from Manhattan. I was raised in the Midwest, but I got a New Yorker state of mind. So thank you so much for attending today. We look forward to your speech. And now I would like to call on E.T. E.T., welcome back. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, hello everybody. I'm grateful to be here. So it's good to see you all here. Hopefully you can see me now, even though I'm becoming Hope. So yeah, back to you.
Thank you. And where are you from?
Indonesia.
Okay. And what time is it there?
Oh, it's 11 p.m. I'm going to sleep soon.
I am grateful that you care enough to be here. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, I know I saw another guest. Celine, welcome.
Thank you.
Could you tell me where you're from and what are you grateful for today?
Okay, I'm from the LA area, the suburbs of Los Angeles, and I'm grateful for my cats. That sounds so dumb, but I just love them. And I'm grateful for them. I don't know. Should I really say the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, you already did, so that's cool because when we are grateful for our kitties, I know you're a brand new member, so sorry I didn't acknowledge that, and also Venice, and Gisela. No, I have two kitties. Same. They
Yeah.
bring me so much joy.
Yeah, you should see them. I'll show them to you sometimes.
I would love that. You should do a speech about them.
Okay.
We also learn to talk about what we love.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for being here again, and thank you for joining the club. I'm going to wrap up my comments. I was going to do an induction today, but we've got more people to induct. So I'm going to wait for our next meeting for our induction. And with that, I would like to turn this meeting over to one of my favorite people, Pamela Brode. We met at another club, didn't we, Pamela?
We met on the phone. I feel like that was our first induction.
What did you just blind call me? I don't think
I did. I found out there's this like advanced thing and I looked it up and I called you and we had a great talk and I fell in love with you just in the speech. And then I got to see you face to face when we had the competition, the meeting over there.
That's right. Well, I would love to turn this meeting over to you as you talk about what you are grateful for. And with that, I am off the stage for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Yes, gratitude. I am grateful for being voluntold. It's a funny tale because Sandra texted me and said, "Oh, you're the Toastmaster." And I said, "What?" In 3 weeks or whatever it was coming up. And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you've been voluntold." I said, "Well, I wasn't told yet, but now I'm being told." So I am most grateful for being voluntold and being included. And no matter where you go, this incredible group keeps you going, keeps you growing. And by, not letting you hide out if you're going, whatever we're going through, we're all going through things in life, right? So being part of this group is just such a wonderful thing to keep us going. So once I was voluntold, Sandra said, "Well, what's the theme?" Instantly, I thought gratitude. Why? Because who in this Zoom wants to be happy? Raise your hand. I want to be able to see y'all instead of me very big. Raise your hand. Y'all want to be happy? Awesome. Awesome. I don't think anyone in here is like, "I want to be unhappy, darn it. I'm going to protect my unhappiness," right? So, they've studied all these diseases left and right, all of these different disorders. We've got, so many new disorders. Gosh, my daughter's this new disorder, a food restrictive disorder. I mean, you can name anything. So they were done with studying all the disorders and they thought, maybe we should study happiness. What makes someone happy? Whether they're in Timbuktu or, somewhere where they have to get their water from a well and have nothing, to the most wealthy, everyone. And what were the common things that they had? Well, we made it really easy for you because we made it the name of today. Gratitude. No matter what they had, they were grateful. And gratitude is the kryptonite to unhappiness. So it's so important. And I thought it'd be really fun if we just took a moment to think. I double dog dare you all. And now I hate to bring this up, but think about the last time that you were either, maybe you still feel a little bit upset or angry. Like, take a moment to think about a time where you were upset about something. Take a moment, and I hate to get you into a negative space, but try it out. Think of that thing that was really upsetting, or maybe something that you went through. When you feel it, just give me a nod or put your head up. That'd be fun to, yeah, awesome. Giselle's there. I got a little bit of nod. You can feel that time. You're just really even road rage, whatever it was, or something so sad. Okay, you're in it. Now right now, be grateful for something in that moment. Whether it taught you something, whether it got you something. Think of something you can be grateful for in that moment. And I loved what Celine said. Is it the first thing that pops in our head? That's the great thing about this. Yes, don't judge it. First thing that comes to you, what you can be grateful for about that moment. When you feel something about gratitude in that moment, raise your hand, emoji us, give us a signal. Vicky's got it. Some of you might have to look really deeply. There you got it, Kathy. Wonderful. You know, I lost one of my best friends to suicide 2001, and it was the worst experience I ever went through, the most painful experience. And in the moment, I couldn't imagine how you could be grateful for it. But looking back, I am actually grateful for the experience because it made me change who I am. Made me start thinking about how could I not know that somebody I loved so much was under so much stress? Why was I so in my own head? Why was I in my own pain? So we can totally take a terrible situation and have gratitude. Do you all feel see a gratitude? Yeah. And did that shift you? It shifts you, right? From outside of the anger, right into the gratitude. It's hard to be angry. You cannot be angry or unhappy and be in that gratitude. Is anyone holding on? If anyone is holding on to that gratitude and they're still angry, I want you to go, "Argh." All right, you're like, Pamela, you're really putting me on the spot. So everybody feels it. You feel better when you're in gratitude, right? Give it up if you feel better. Right? Yes, we feel awesome. We feel better when we're in gratitude. So we are going to celebrate. And thank God we have so much to be grateful for right here on the screen. Every single one of us that shows up and shares, we learn something unique and different. Whether it's across the pond, all the way, I like to say, Ray in Spain, although he's always on a tropical island, bringing us his wisdom over there, right? All the way from Indonesia. Everybody brings a little something. And so today we get to celebrate this gratitude of just each other and showing up. I was looking up a little bit about gratitude, and I stumbled upon something that Denzel Washington said, and I thought it was really amazing. And he said that he is grateful before it comes. And he says that's why he is where he is. So if you want to be somewhere, you become grateful for the job that's coming your way. You're grateful for the new wife who may be coming into your life. Or you're grateful for the Toastmasters award you're going to win. And imagine that it's already here and be grateful for it. And everything that's leading up to this moment, you get to say, thank you. I am grateful. Because even the hard parts, even the stumbling parts, it teaches us something. I mean, the reason I found you all was because I didn't win the Toastmaster competition I was so excited about. I decided to seek out because all I knew was what the people that I was with in my group were giving me, and I didn't get good feedback that said anything I had to work on. That's why I reached out to Vicky and picked up the phone. It's like, I need some people who can deep dive and give me masterful evaluations. And that's how I found you guys. So we can continue to grow from all of its strength to strength. So I'm excited to jump in today and to notice our gratitude. And I have to give a shout out to Tamara because she is so masterful with her poetry. And every single meeting, she spends time to craft the perfect poem. And she did it so beautifully with our gratitude. So I want to start this meeting and we're going to jump right into feeling, feel free to actually add a little bit of time because Vicky started. So maybe when I introduce you, you can share a little, maybe one or two people or something that you're grateful for when we start off. Does that sound good? All right, let's kick it off. Well, we're going to shout out to my friend over there, the Zoom master. We've got Mr. John Graham. And he might be using his chat GPT to help us make this meeting a hit. How you doing over there, John? You want to share with us something you're grateful for?
Let's see. I'm grateful for finding new speakers. That's my chore in Rotary and as VP in Rotary this year, Long Beach Rotary. And so I find that to be very intriguing. And yes, I do use chat GPT to help me with that. I have my prompts are like a page long, you know? But I basically have rabbit holes. And so my rabbit holes are the topic areas that I want to try to find somebody on. And I use GPT to dig down and find those people. So once you have the rabbit holes, you have to find the right rabbits. And that's my process. And I'm grateful for being able to do that. Thank you very much, Pamela.
Awesome. I'm getting a signal. Now are you the general evaluator?
No, I am not.
I have a Zoom. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting notes in here real time. I'm going, wait, what? No, I got you. I got it. You're a Zoom master. Okay. Somehow I saw somebody said in the general evaluator. Maybe somebody got moved. I'm not reading all the side things. So, right. Thank you so much, John Graham. John, dear friend, and I'm grateful because I remember the first time I met you in person and you were just so sweet and jumped up and greeted me as I walked into the door, first time coming to a Toastmaster big time event. And you're just such a ray of sunshine. So let's go to our general evaluator. As I have it in my notes, we have Dr. Gwendolyn.
Who is not here.
Aha. So
I suggest we nominate the great, the legend, Paul O'Mahony, who is a guest at our club, but a wonderful Toastmaster. John, would you be willing to step up as GE for today's meeting?
I'll answer to Paul.
What did I call you, John?
Don't worry. I should have said I'll answer to John as well.
You know, I have many Johns in my life, in my life. So maybe it was a subtle reference.
She first called you Paul, but we know that
you pay me too much honor, but I love it. Unfortunately, my sister I'm grateful for the fact that my sister who lives in Michigan is downstairs with my other sister and my nephew, and I've come to your meeting today. I hold my hands up and say, because I want to support Lynn Gilbert in particular. I am her mentor, and that's what I think a mentor is meant to do, go along and see their person doing their best. So I'm afraid I'll only be able to stay for a portion of the meeting. So I would be hopeless as a general evaluator. But thank you for the offer.
Thank you. So Pamela, it is your job now to find a new GE.
Awesome. Well, not a car. Anybody raise their hand if you do not have a job and you would love to do it. Otherwise, I will pick on you. Oh, Vicky, you want to do it too?
I don't have a job, so I will do it if you'd like.
Yeah. Thank you. I would love. And I'm so glad you called on Paul, because then we got to hear him speak in his incredible Irish accent, which I could listen to for days. And hopefully you'll come back and maybe speak with us as well again. Sounds great. Okay. See, we're moving right along. Grateful for people jumping in. And to the incredible, the woman who keeps things together, who is dedicated to Toastmasters Beyond, peanut butter and jelly. Whatever you want to put on your toast, Miss Sandra Savage as our word of the day grammarian and counter.
Thank you, Pamela. I chose a word that I thought of when I thought of what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful to a fourth grade teacher who told me my handwriting was beautiful and my writing was imaginative. So she instigated the gratitude in my life. She got it all started. Now, instigate can also be used as a bad word, like I would for my brother when he'd start a fight with us. But let's try and stay on the positive with the word of the day, instigate. I also took a screenshot of it on the visual thesaurus, and you can see some other words: incite, stir up, prompt, inspire, set off. But it's what started the whole thing. I mean, why are we fighting? Well, he started it. He instigated that idea. He instigated the debate team at our house. My mother instigated the love of food in my life. Not by cooking in Minnesota, but just in general. So I'm going to be counting how many times you can naturally fit the word instigate into your speech, but I'm also going to copy Victoria James, and I'm going to collect some gems and hopefully not too many germs, things that evoke your feelings of something greater, or make the word, the sentence just roll around in your tongue and have a good time. So back to you, Pamela.
I love that. Thank you for instigating this whole event of wonderful times to use this word. Sounds great. So let's start with the woman who instigated this whole meeting. Tamara, you are going to be our evaluator for our first speaker. We're going to hand you the baton for her objectives.
Okay, so we are now going to listen to Victoria James. She will be presenting her icebreaker, 4 to 6 minutes, level 1, presentation mastery. And the title is Acceptance is the Mother of Invention. We are all ears, Victoria.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Victoria, you have the screen.
Sometimes our stories are more powerful than a locomotive. Do you remember hearing the news of Christopher Reeve's horseback riding accident in the 90s? America gasped. Superman had quadriplegia. The story hit me particularly hard. My family received similar tragic news about 20 years prior. My grandfather, who was the athletic hero of our family, woke up from neurosurgery, paralyzed from the chest down. Money was short and insurance wasn't what it is today. And also my grandmother had just recently had a stroke, so she was having some cognitive lapses. So my grandfather took it upon himself to invent personalized adaptive equipment that would help my grandmother help him get up and out of bed every morning, into the car. His inventions incorporated antiques that were laying around their old farmhouse. Like there were these wooden pulleys and ropes and these hand-operated winches. And the winches were made to lock in a particular way so that if my grandmother had a dizzy spell, nobody would get hurt. My grandfather made tools like this one, specifically made so that he could grip them, kind of clamp his hand on it, and this enabled him to carve wood projects, impossibly beautiful, in his wood shop every day. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to know how you fit into this story. About 5 years ago, I came to understand that my grandfather's condition is genetic. It started with leg pain. I was having a hard time driving, and within a few weeks, I was having trouble walking. The doctor told me my prognosis was bleak. I was going to be in pain for the rest of my life. But I was blessed in that I discovered some research which helped me leverage my competitive swimming background in order to invent a system of water-based aquatic therapy, which actually helped me improve by about 80% over the course of 2 years. I declared myself cured at that point. I declared myself at the very end of my own personal hero's journey arc. But not long after that, my arm started to turn blue at work. Again, I heard from the doctor, it's rare, neurological, disabling. Your prognosis is bleak. And around the same time, my eye doctor noticed some changes in my eyes and suggested it might be a good idea for me to talk to a geneticist. And when I heard the word geneticist, I just knew. You see, the same genes that made me athletic, like my grandfather, also made me prone to rare neurological problems. My life story, the one I'd always told myself, in which I was this bossy computer nerd by day and a competitive swimmer by night, was over. So I did what any typical type A personality professional woman would do. I called my mother crying. I asked her, what was I going to do? And her answer surprised me. She said, you know what? Grandpa had a hard time too. You're just going to have to get over it. Apparently, Grandpa had a hard time too. I didn't even consider that. Apparently, the first stage of his hero's journey arc was acceptance. And only then was he inspired to invent these systems that were life as usual, life as normal, as far as I knew. And before I could get over it, I was going to have to accept my body and that my physical capabilities were very likely going to be unpredictable. And only then could I imagine a new life story for myself. As of today, this story involves becoming an expert on health, including my own, mastering the latest adaptive technologies for disabilities, and honing my verbal communication skills. And this is what brings me to Toastmasters. My name is Victoria James. I am an aspiring public speaker and the author of this very unpredictable life story. Thank you for being part of it.
Wow, Victoria, thank you so much for your beautiful, vulnerable, and incredible story and sharing with us. We're going to put 60 seconds on the timer, if you would, John, for feedback, and everybody can write it in the chat to Victoria. So we'll take 60 seconds for feedback.
Fine.
Okay, thank you very much. And Venice is actually doing our timer, not John. Sorry about that. Venice, thank you very much for doing a great job at the timer. And Victoria, I apologize. I don't know if we actually introduced that was your icebreaker speech. So that was just so beautifully to give us a piece of your, to know you a little bit more. We are so glad that you're with us. So let's go tropical over there, Mr. Ray Sweeney. We're going to jump into our speaker number 2, your evaluator. If you could go ahead and share with us objectives, go for it.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and I'll share a bit of gratitude as well. I'm grateful for this club. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of you all for the last 2 years and the growth that we all take. And we all intend to instigate feedback, learn from it and grow from it. And that's the most important thing. And imagine 2 weeks later and you haven't been to a meeting. How do you feel? You always feel like fear of missing out, FOMO. You know, you think, oh, I should have been at the meeting. Why wasn't I? I'm going to make the next one. And when you attend the meeting, you always walk away with something. So that is my gratitude for that. But tonight we should be grateful for Gisela, who's going to give us her speech, which is from the Presentation and Mastery Path, Level 3, 5 to 7 minutes. And that includes managing a difficult audience. The title is When Students Lead, and I'll hand it back to you, Pamela, our Toastmaster.
Wonderful. All right, Giselle Bands. When students lead, change follows.
I will start my presentation with a quote of Maya Angelou, which says, "Each time a woman stands up for herself without knowing it possibly, she stands up for all women." Did you ever have a moment in your school years where you had to fight for something? Please show me your hands. I went personally to a very strict, rigid grammar school run by the nuns with a lot of elite kids in it. And it was run by the Catholic nuns, priests, one brother, and female teachers. Imagine, the nuns were wearing dark blue dresses up to their feet, and they were struggling to mount the staircases and to go down again because they were heavy and tailor-made. Besides that, they were wearing white caps over their hair because we were not allowed to see it. The female teachers were all supposed to wear business outfits. And then there was us students. Every morning, a lot of drivers came over with the rich kids, delivering them at school, and they were staying there for the whole week, the whole month, some the whole term. And we were all wearing the same uniform. And that implied a white shirt with short or long sleeves, blue cardigans, jumpers, blue coats, raincoats, blue skirts up to the knee, not under it, up to the knee, just above it, and wearing blue woolen socks covering your feet up to your ankles. Half of the school was going home at lunchtime, and we were walking or we were taking our bikes. So imagine, during winter time, it was very tough. There was a lot of rain, snow, ice, and we were shivering. And then a couple of very candid students in my class decided one day to come to school, and they were wearing, to the nuns' surprise, trousers in jeans. Imagine, 49 years ago, trousers in jeans. The nuns were upset, the assistant director was mad, and letters were written, and the girls were being sent home. And the nuns expected that the girls would be dressed in a normal way the day afterward. But it didn't happen. They continued every day to come to school wearing their jeans. And after a couple of days, I took my courage together and I decided to join them. So I was also sent home, and my father, being very strict and authoritarian, he decided to give me a second punishment. And it went on for a couple of days. And then, out of the blue, one of my classmates decided to write a letter to a Belgian newspaper called The Latest News. We didn't expect anything, and out of the blue, what happened? They sent a journalist and a photographer. And us girls with 14, 15 years old, we were all being interviewed, photographs were taken in black and white, and we ended up on the first front page of The Latest News in Belgium. Imagine our parents. Imagine the attention of the public. All of a sudden, people started to talk, why couldn't these girls wear trousers? So the nuns were very upset, and they quickly realized that their discipline and punishment didn't work. For them, it was a big blow because for the first time in the history of the school, they had to change their position. It was no longer they who were running us from top management and we were executing, it was another ball game. And out of the blue, they were forced to have a meeting with some class representatives. And the main point of discussion was what are acceptable trousers to be worn in school allowed by them. So finally, we won the battle, and it was allowed that all girls, as well in primary school as in grammar school, were allowed to wear trousers. That was for us really a big, big, big win. And guess what? Peace came back to the school. It became clear to most people that this was not an issue of rules. It's a much deeper issue, something to do with respect. And these girls thought that they were not passive people in an educational system, but that they were active people who wanted to change the educational system. And as it was taught to us, the institutions are not supposed to work against the people, they are supposed to serve them. So right now, my call for action to all of you is, when you're a student and you listen to this speech, please remember, your voice is powerful. And don't sit down and when you think that you have to fight for something, go for it. Build alliances, organize, speak out for the truth. And when the system forgets who it's supposed to fight for, remind it. And never forget one important thing. It's not silence which is going to create change. It's just a couple of students or a couple of people who dare to roar. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Gisela. And what you incited a whole change. And you're right, when one woman speaks up, everything changed. Women, man, all of us can incite so much change. So thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and say, Venice, if you put 60 seconds on the timer for us and give some feedback to Gisela in the comments.
Fine.
Thank you so much, Venice. And hopefully we didn't get you an introduction, Venice, because I didn't have that in my agenda, but hopefully we can circle back to you after we do our speeches and you can share with us what you are grateful for. Wonderful. So let's go to our third speaker. How wonderful. We have 3 speakers today. And our evaluator is John White, our favorite man without any hair, but I never
Just call me bald. Just say it.
Our favorite bald eagle, Mr.
Just
John
say it.
White. We're going to throw the baton to you.
Yeah, Ray and I are vying for a favorite bald guy. What am I grateful for? I'm sorry, Ray. I got ahead of you. Just play this back in 5 years. Okay. I am grateful. I've grown kids. They're doing good. They're doing well. So I'm very grateful for that. I am grateful that I'm still finding life interesting at times. I'm easily bored, so I find some interesting stuff. And I'm also very grateful for what I view as an increased portion of peace and acceptance in my life. I'm not fighting as much, though I still keep an edge. I like to do that. It's my pleasure to be evaluator of Lynn Gilbert. Her original designs were to inspire us, then her mentor, Paul Mahoney, advised her otherwise. So we know that a mentor, what he or she does is he shows up. What a mentee does, what Lynn Gilbert does, is to consider the advice. And so she's changed the objectives of her speech. She's going to talk about living her life on the edge and wondering if she's going to survive, and the feeling she has like she's going to go over a cliff. She wants to know, is her story interesting? Did she keep people engrossed? And did they want to know what happened? So that's her objectives, and I'll be looking for that. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Your favorites, and there's only one bald man in MOE. Sorry, Ray. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. And Living on the Edge. Gosh, I wish we had the rights to the John Bon Jovi song to play right now and to bring on Lynn Gilbert. Lynn Gilbert, Living on the Edge.
Okay, all right, let me get on. I need some help how to do this. Where is the play? Okay, I have to get, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm ready. I want to talk to you about conquering fear because fear is such an essential part of our life. It's about anxiety, it's about failure. Can you see the slides? Does anybody?
No, we don't see any slides, Lynn.
Hold on one second. I don't know how to get on the. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Lynn, before you start, could you tell me your timing, please? I've got 8 to 10 minutes.
Timing is 10 minutes. Okay, I'm ready. Hi, I'm delighted to be here today. My name is Lynn Gilbert, and I'm a documentary photographer. I wanted to talk about the passion that I have for my work. And one of the things that happened early on is I had a passion for a professor, and it helped shape my life. I thought if I did a terrific paper that he might marry me, but he married the girl who sat behind me. And he was a professor and the curator at the Museum of Modern Art, so that when I got a good grade, this gave me a confidence booster. Now, when I talk about being on the edge, I am on the edge. My whole life has been on the edge because I pick things to do that have never been done before. I documented children, over 100 children in different socioeconomic backgrounds in New York, and I never knew where it was going to go. I just did it, and I had to do it. What happened is, and I had to wait 50 years, is that I had a show and my pictures were up on kiosks. It turned out that there were 66 kiosks all over the city. So millions of people got to see my pictures, but they didn't see what I really wanted to show them. And, in a serious show, here was a portrait that I did. I was hired by the Pace Gallery. I was an unknown children's photographer, and I was photographing one of the foremost artists of the 20th century. And I had never formally photographed an adult before. So I went home and I took lots of pictures of friends of mine. But when I went to do Nevelson, it scared the living daylights out of me. And what happened after that was also going on the edge. I decided that since nobody was looking at my children's pictures, that I would do a book on women. And it was the second wave of the women's movement. And I got all these women, the key women of this period of the 70s and the 80s, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Julia Child, Billie Jean King. And one of my fears was that they're going to find out I don't have a publisher. Somebody's going to ask me. And I was terrified. And sure enough, it happened. And one of the women who was a columnist with thousands of people, she said, I sent her into a room and I said, change your clothes. And she calls out, she said, who's your publisher? And I cupped my hand to my ear and I said, what'd you say? And I figured that when she came out of the room, she wouldn't remember. She remembered, and she was fuming. So as I photographed her, I said to her, listen, you're a pro at what you do, and I'm a pro at what I do. And we ended up friends. Now, here's another thing. Some of the women turned me down, like Barbara Walters. She turned me down 10 times. So I finally said to her, listen, everybody else is in the book. You have to do it. So she did do it. Now, the book turned out, it took 5 years to do, is in 623 libraries worldwide. And my son, who was in Harvard, said it was a cult book with the Harvard professors. Now, the story with the Nevelson picture, it became an iconic picture. And it was also the face of the Venice Biennale a couple years ago. And it was a big event for Nevelson, and it was also for me too. So this picture was all over Venice, over posters, which you can see it on the top of the boat, and it was seen probably by 15 million people. So it began. Now, here's another thing that I went on the edge, which is really crazy. I'm a New Yorker, I'm an old lady, and I went to Turkey, and I documented the interiors of the traditional houses all over the country. I did it for 10 years, and I also, I spent 253 days there, and I got the help of the municipal government. This is really going out on a limb, and it's sort of scary. But the wonderful part is I had a passion for it, and it was a thrilling experience. So eventually, I had shows. I was in a book called 50 Famous People in Turkey, which is funny. I was on a major TV show for a half-hour interview, and my big deal was I got in a magazine with Kendall Jenner. I figured I made it. So half a century later, I said to myself, you know what? You should feel a little confident and not feel scared all the time. And I was going to photograph a woman who was in the book, who at this time, and this was a few months ago, is one of the foremost, or is the foremost architect, influential architect in the world, Denise Scott Brown Venturi. So I have a little success under my belt, which I've never felt. But I began to realize I can do this. And my graphic designer said, you really should get it filmed. So I went down with a crew, and I had a cinematographer. One guy was from Hollywood, another one from Netflix. My lighting guy couldn't do it. I had, a sound guy, and people kept shifting. So last minute, there were a lot of changes, which is very nerve-wracking. And I said, okay, it is what it is. So I got food ready for them because we had, my slides aren't working. I had food ready for them, and I had to get meals we were going down to Philadelphia for breakfast, snack, lunch, snack in the afternoon. So as I'm getting everything packed up, I said, okay, check your camera. I checked my camera, and you know what happened? The settings went off the camera, one of them. And it's 2:30 in the morning, and I am having a meltdown. So I said, I look at this, I said, there's no way that I can get the settings back on this camera. I have one camera, and I look at all the buttons. I don't take pictures all the time. I do, most of what I'm doing now is editing. And I look at all the buttons, and I said to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do? I said, I'm going to go down there with this crew, and I'm going to fall on my face. So what I realized, I said, you know what? There's cinematographers. I said, you're gonna sit in the back of the car and get one of these guys to show you what the buttons are. So what happens, I get in the car, and they put me in the front seat. And, I'm half dead. So I arrive in Philadelphia, and you know what? It's like getting on a bicycle. If you've been on a bicycle, you're on a bicycle. You know how to ride a bike. And once I got into it, I was all right. So the first series of pictures that I did of her were not exactly what I loved, and she didn't like them because she felt that she looked too heavy. What I find is that and it's the same thing, whatever work you do, there are always multiple solutions, and particularly with photography, because you can do things multiple ways. Now, I wasn't happy with the clothes that she was wearing, and I didn't like her there. I normally pick the clothes. The problem here was she didn't stop talking, and I was also interviewing her. So I said to her, listen, Denise, I said, you know what, I've got to get the pictures. I said, when I put my hand up, you've got to stop talking. I said, that's really something I'm saying to myself, to the most influential architect in the world. I'm telling her, don't talk. But she didn't talk, and I got multiple pictures of her. What happens with this is even if you're not happy, you can crop it, and then you can crop it further to get a close-up shot. So here's another problem. You know that I guess whatever work you do, you're going to run into problems. And this created a major problem for me. The setting was sublime. It was a Biedermeier sofa, a pop pillows, a pop table, a picture of Lenin, etchings and stenciled wall that had done. And here she was, but here my problem was I'm on a stairway and I can't move because the stairway is very narrow and I can't move to the left or the right or up or down. So ultimately, I knew that I was going to have to crop, otherwise the wall would look a little cockeyed. So I got the final picture and I said, you know what? I nailed it. I said, with all the terror that I had, I got a wonderful portrait for me, and it's probably one of the best that I ever had. And she's being honored in Bilbao. They're using it in the catalog. So one of the things that I feel is that I've learned is that life is really about coming to grips with the anxiety, the fear, the sense of failure that you might have, and that when you get through each of those things, you arrive at another level that gives you a sense of confidence. And as Franklin Roosevelt said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing and for being with us. What incredible experiences that you've had. And surely that is interesting and very incredible. So we're going to put 60 seconds on the timer for everyone to give their feedback to you in the chat.
Thank you.
Go for it, Venice. Okay, thank you, Venice. Our 60 seconds is up as we are going to progress with our meeting. And let's kick it over for our timers report. And our timer, Venice. And Venice, would you tell us, since we didn't get a chance to start you with, what are you grateful for?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. One of the things that I really am grateful for is my watch. I'm always running behind time. And today, when I can't find my watch, I'm grateful for my mobile phone. Just in case time runs away with us, right? So everyone has really been doing very well with their time. Firstly, let me congratulate Victoria for a 4 to 6 minute speech. You've done very well by keeping it into 5 minutes and 50 seconds. 56 seconds. There's 5 minutes, 56 seconds. Gazelle had 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and you've kept it to 5 minutes and 58 seconds. You could have used a little bit more time, but we are grateful. Always grateful. And for Lynn Gilbert, she really was very solid. With her 8 to 10 minutes, she reined it in at 10 minutes and 25 seconds. We've all been instigators of time. We've made sure that we take hold of the time that we have and used it very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Venice. It's true. Time can run away with us. I love that. It's so perfect. Be grateful for our time. So we are going to incite lots of fun and mayhem with the wonderful. I was very excited to see that Kathy Choice is going to be our table topic masters. Maybe she has two different personalities there today. Who knows? All right, Miss Kathy, why don't you incite some mayhem and excitement for us for the table topics?
Okay, thank you, Pamela. However, I am not going to incite mayhem. However, my intention is to stir up thoughts of gratitude, reflections of gratitude. And of course, in Masters of Evaluation, we do table topics and then we do a snap evaluation afterwards. So I hope everyone is up to this. And for my first question, I will start off with,
Oh, Kathy, we didn't get your gratitude.
had a rough few days. Rough. I'm like, probably the most insignificant was that I opened a bag of coffee and probably about 3/4 of the bag fell onto the floor. And that was the beginning of things just going absolutely sideways. And yesterday, I went to the ocean, to a place that I really like, and had a wonderful time. I hadn't been there since November 5th of last year. And I'm grateful that I was able to go there and just be there with the ocean and the waves and the mist that was coming off of the ocean. And then by the time we got ready to leave, I pretty much got hit by a wave. Okay, grateful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, so my first question is, what is the difference between gratitude and positivity? And for that, I am going to put this question to John Graham. And John, you're muted.
Could you give me the question once again, please?
Yes. What is the difference between gratitude and positivity?
I think positivity is really a feature that people show. Positivity is the way that you treat the world and the way that you see the world. Gratitude is when the world reaches back and affirms, the positivity that you express. And that would be the main thing. And so you can instigate, is that one of the words? Gratitude in others. And that's something that I like to do. I like to think of myself as walking on the plus side of life. And the gratitude that I receive is how others respond to that. When other people tell me or express to me that they're happy, that is a feeling of gratitude that I get from them. So when we can institute gratitude for people, and I think that that's the process that really I'm kind of going through in my life. That's what I like. So back to you, Kathy.
Okay, thank you so very much for that, John. And as I said, in Masters of Evaluations, we do snap evaluations. So I will be calling upon someone to give an evaluation of John's table topics response without regurgitating what John said. And this will be their snap evaluation. And for that, I am, of course, going to call upon the other John, but John White.
Can I say this may be the first time I'm thankful that I was asked to snap evaluate someone? My goodness, John Graham, this changed my life. Gratitude is the world reaching back to you? I thought gratitude was seeing the world with its mixed bags of life experience and please see the good of it. Be positive. I thought they were intertwined, but oh my goodness. And John, it reminds me in this world where we're talking about AI and your fascination of it. I'm about TGI, Pamela, John Graham intelligence. More of you, less artificial, your life lessons. I wouldn't have changed anything about it. It was phenomenal. Thank you.
And thank you to you, John White. And my next question is, and hopefully this will prompt some visualization within someone's answer. And my next question is, if gratitude was a color, what would it be and why? So if gratitude was a color, what color would it be and why? And for that question, I'm going to give that to our guest, who I'm sure is a Toastmaster, so isn't going to be surprised. And that is Celine.
Okay, thank you for that question, Kathy. I'm actually a member now. I'm a new member. So, if gratitude were a color, I would imagine it would either be blue or green. I mean, if I had to pick, I suppose it would be green because gratitude is sort of a window for positive growth. I don't know if I'm gonna be infected with the honesty bug today. So I'm usually a very positive person actually, and I liked your first question. I am all for positivity. I have a tendency to be able to do that regardless of the situation. I can always see the silver lining. It's very easy for me. But when somebody tells me to make a gratitude list or say what I'm grateful for, I don't know. I mean, I'm quite the Pollyanna, but I don't like gratitude lists, and I actually don't like the question. So um, I'm saying this though because I think that there are other people who might relate to that. So I feel like I'm on the fence with it because what I'm going to do after this meeting is start making gratitude lists and see what that brings. And the color for that is going to be green, but I think it's actually going to open up some honesty funnel because okay, in Western culture, I mean, we get all into self-esteem and positivity, which I think is great. That's usually where I stand. But sometimes in other cultures, I think in Eastern culture, I'm not sure, it's also a good idea to honor both sides, what you're feeling, and even if it's not positive, and then also do the gratitude bit because as a wonderful songwriter once said that if you don't unite the opposites, then you have chaos. This is sort of a philosophical person talking. But I actually believe above happiness is actually contentment. And I think that happiness can actually kind of lead to suffering in a way because I feel like it's like I feel that it's not always realistic. It doesn't really unite the opposites. One can become anxious when they're hyper focused on gratitude. But when they look at the full picture, that actually is a foundation for joy, actually, which is a little bit different from happiness. It honors the whole experience and the whole self. So on that note, gratitude would be the color blue for me because that's not my favorite color, but it's a sort of a neutral color. So I think that it's a good one for sort of acknowledging and honoring the whole perspective, if you will. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so very much, Celine, for your response. And for the snap evaluation, I am going to call upon someone who doesn't have a very large speaking role today, which is Vicky.
Well, thank you. I am GE, but I'll be chatting away. But I do have some feedback. So wonderful job, Celine. The one thing I was thinking about, when you engage your audience, it helps us relate. So when you were talking about, I'm not sure that I really have a lot of gratitude. I don't make those lists. It would have been wonderful for you to stop and go, does anyone else feel that way? And then pause. Other than that, and you did run off the runway a little bit, so watch your timing. Our timer has her hand raised, so she's in the upper left-hand corner, so keep your eye on that. Because what happens when we start to go over time, people start looking at that light and go, she's going over time, and they're not listening. But I loved the way you approached this, and I love the way you went back to the previous question. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Vicky, for your snap evaluation. And for the interest of time, I am not going to go for another question because we're in Toastmasters. We try to stay on time. And with that, I am actually going to I'm going to ask for our timer. Would it be possible for you to put the times into the chat so that we can see that? And we can continue moving on with the meeting. And with that, I am going to actually turn our meeting over to our general evaluator.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I look forward to giving a general evaluation of the meeting as we continue. But first, we're going to hear from our three evaluators. And up first is Tamara Evans, who will evaluate our first speaker, Victoria James. It's all yours, Tamara.
I was very moved with the story Victoria shared, as probably all of us did. I liked the comparison in the very beginning that a story can be more powerful than a locomotive. And I have a few suggestions which might make Victoria's story really more powerful than a locomotive. I would shorten and change the title a little bit. For example, I would title the speech, Acceptance is the Key. Then people will think, a key to what? And they will be already hooked. And then the main purpose, the emphasis of the whole story, what is it? It's Victoria's mother's advice. You have to get over it, which means we have to accept whatever challenges we are confronted with and use them as instigator for creative ideas, for more strength, for inner power. And we did learn a lot about Victoria in this story, but in the end, it's necessary to have a conclusion and a strong call to action. So you probably consider making the end of your speech crescendo, if you know this musical term, louder, louder, louder in the end, instead of diminuendo like you did. You introduced yourself in the end and thank you almost in a whisper. But if you could say something like, so don't cry because something is over. Smile because it did happen in your life. Or whenever something bad happens in your life, accept it, be grateful for it, let it instigate creative ideas. That's how would be good to end your speech, and that way it will really be memorable and stay in our hearts and minds. Call to action, what we can learn from it. Other than that, it was well paced, well delivered, very interesting ideas, and you were not afraid to be vulnerable when you really shared, you opened your heart and soul to us. Thank you very much for that, and I wish you success in your future speeches. We can't hear you.
Stay on the screen for a minute, Victoria, and I'll be on the screen with you. What value did that evaluation bring for you as Masters of Evaluation?
I hadn't thought about doing a call to action at the end of this, but tomorrow's evaluation, giving examples, I can see how I could have done that. I was having trouble actually when I wrote the speech. I was like, there's not really a call to action here. You know, I'm not asking for anybody to call my 1-800 number and like, I'll solve all your health problems, or, you know, that's not the point of the speech. But I like the idea of finding a way to relate to the audience that concept of accepting something so that you can reach that creativity and that inventiveness in your own mind. So I'll look at that and I'll try to incorporate that.
Thank you. I'm glad she instigated some ideas for you.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to call on our second evaluator, Ray Sweeney, to evaluate Gisela. And John, if you can pin the two of them, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Audience, can I ask you, raise your hand if you've heard of the Fantastic Four. Raise your hand. Well, tonight you're going to get another version of the Fantastic Four. I'm going to tell you, Gisela, what I liked and loved about your speech, and hopefully some areas of improvement. I loved the way you shared this 49-year-old legend of the nuns in Belgium. It was really descriptive. You took us on that journey, talked about your socks and your skirts, the walking, the bikes, the rain, the snow, the ice, and how their bodies were all shivering. So you put us in that moment, you put us in that time frame, that space 49 years ago. You set the story up well. Now, you are a great storyteller. The 4 points that I took from your story was, number one, courage. Let's join together. Secondly, was the importance of writing a letter and how that affected you, your classmates, in encouraging a journalist and photographer to attend the school. Having that important conversation. Thirdly, why people should change their position about winning the battle, bringing peace back to the school. And fourth, your voice is important, and I dare you to roar. So how can we take these 4 points that we love and elevate them? Well, let's look at number one. When you hit the stage, you use the quote. But when you hit the stage and use a quote, give us the quote. You don't need to tell the audience you're going to give them a quote. Secondly, pause. Pause for impact throughout your speech. It also breaks up the flow. Third, you took us on a journey, a story. Now, that has to have an emotional shift. Otherwise, it's just dialogue. You need to take us on the ups and downs, how it relates to you, and how did you evolve because of it. And fourthly, I dare you to roar. Project your voice when speaking. Vocal variety, one of the key things we use in Toastmasters. So in summary, as the wise old philosopher said, William Butler Yeats, if I may, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. In summary, just start, pause, take us on the journey, and project your voice. Gisela, let's instigate your change. I dare you to roar. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sweeney. Okay, so where am I? Oh, I want Gisela still on the screen, John. So Gisela, what value did that evaluation bring for you? You're on mute. Story of my life.
Yeah, sorry guys. I thought it was a very positive feedback. I know I have to project my voice. Instead of breathing here, I have to breathe through my tummy, and that's still a little bit of a problem. But I found somebody who's going to help me with that, and I know that vocal variety is something important. And I must say that's something that I have since the car crash and the operation. I have a tendency in speaking too fast. and I have to learn to slow down because after the surgery in 82, I wasn't able to move my left cheek, my lips, so I spoke without opening my mouth, and I really, I'm glad that I got that feedback because I really have to make an effort to breathe differently, speak louder, and open my mouth more. So I welcome it. I'm looking forward and working on these issues. And using more vocal variety, guys, to protect my voice. The advantage of my voice in management meetings was that everybody was super quiet because I had a soft voice, so they were all listening. There was no noise in the good old days.
Well, that works with babies too. When they're screaming, you whisper and they stop to listen. Thank you, Gisela, for being so open to the feedback. And thank you, Ray, for a really nuanced message. Okay, now I'd like to call up our third speaker and evaluator, Lynn and John White, to give his final evaluation of Lynn's speech.
Thank you very much. Lynn, I want to say that your speech was very inspirational, even though you changed the objectives of the speech. I will say this, in all honesty, it wasn't anything that I thought it would be, and I'm going to own the majority of that responsibility. There was a couple of emails from you where the purpose changed, and I was told at the meeting the speech was celebrating growth, gratitude in every valuation. I read your latest email, wondering will I survive and how I deal with feeling like I'm going over a cliff. I'm looking at you. I see the background. Maybe that's a background, but I assume it's your residence. And I'm saying, this woman's living on the edge. The edge has never treated someone so well. She looks like a socialite. She looks like a millionaire. I'm going to raise some money from her. So I apologize for not having a clear mind and to just receive what you were going to share with us. I had an expectation based upon your communication, the new title, and I never quite recovered. Then I'm told you're a world famous photographer. I have no doubt about it. And you talk about your life as a photographer, and there isn't any visual assistance.
I had all slides.
Yeah, and I don't know if I was supposed to jump in, and if you don't jump in at 15 seconds, then it's really too late at 30, and next thing you know, you're just along for the ride. And I just couldn't recover from that. What I would say is include the slides and have work out the technical part before your speech starts. And I would couch it. You opened up with Maya Angelou. When a woman sticks up for herself, you stick up for all women. Then tell your story about what you did as a professional woman and highlight the risks and rewards of being on the edge. And every time you're setting up a new story and a new tension point in the story, I was on the edge. And let us feel what that was. I felt overwhelmed. I felt imposter syndrome. I felt, they're going to dismiss me because I'm a woman. And every victory, stand up and put your chest out. And that was a victory for women. Couch it in that. So I guess what I'm saying is this speech and these visuals could have achieved a number of purposes, whether it's motivational or not. But when you set it up, there is an expectation, and then you have to deliver on it. I feel like we were going on a trip. We were going south to Mexico, and I'm like, this is north. This is looking more and more like Canada. And I never quite adjusted to it. So I apologize for being a little stuck. I would like the visual aids, and I'd like you to, when you give the speech, feel real clear about the points other than your wonderful life. I think you wanted to communicate to us and women, inspirational, living on the edge is great. It's overwhelming, but it's really rewarding. Come join me on the edge. Thank you very much for your speech.
Thank you, John. And now, John Graham, if you could highlight Lynn once more for me. Lynn, I have a question for you. What value did that evaluation bring for you?
Fantastic. And the reason that it was so good, first of all, I had slides which I took great pains to prepare. And I didn't realize that nobody was seeing them because it was each thing that I did, which makes a huge difference. And I apologize to John because I did keep changing the speech. What happens is I do it and then I do it and I do it and I change it. And I realized that you are an extraordinary group of people that are very meticulous about matching your evaluations, which are really exceptional, well thought out, well constructed, and as important as the speeches themselves, so that I threw you off. Now, in reality, I do live on the edge because everything I do has scared the hell out of me. And it's the kind of thing that everybody says, what are you doing? How are you going to do this? You know, nobody believes that I could do it. So I'm sorry that you all didn't see the slides, and I hope that you will give me another opportunity so that I can share them with you, because it will make a difference. I hope. What he is.
Thank you, Lynn. You know, it's always good to ask the audience, can you see my slides? We would have said no.
I
But
did
have to
ask, and then I
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right, because your story was beautifully told, and thank you for providing feedback to John on the value of his evaluation. All right, we're going to move on to Sandra Savage, who will now instigate a nuanced evaluation as grammarian.
No pressure.
None.
We had a word that I think everyone used. And I liked the way that a lot of you incorporated it into natural speech. It didn't seem like a word that you just forced or threw around. It was used well. And out of the 15 or so people that spoke, we had 21 uses of the word of the day. Now, there were a few boo-boos, very, very few. I'm just going to white out those columns because they weren't enough to mention. There were some filler words that I've caught today. Kathy, I've never thought of this word as a filler because it sounds great, but you use the word actually quite a bit. And Celine had a couple of filler words, especially and. Now, on to the good stuff, the gems and germs. You know, I never noticed until today how well Ray Sweeney enunciates his words. I mean, that was just so easy to listen to Ray's evaluation. Kathy, you use the word regurgitating in a beautiful way, which is an oxymoron, I know. And finally, Victoria James, impossibly beautiful. Doesn't that just feel good? Like a nice warm cardigan or a blanket? Impossibly beautiful. And I also want to do a shout out to Kathy for all of the great questions she did during table topics, and how they were very pictorial to me. I could see a lot of these questions and the colors they evoked. So that's my report, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And now I'm going to do a very brief GE report. First of all, to our Toastmaster, Pamela. Wonderful job today, Pamela. You really embodied the role, and you showed us all how to handle the changes and everything that went on. And your opening remarks really set the tone, and I am grateful for you. To our three evaluators, wonderful job. All of you. You really listened well. This is the power of Masters of Evaluation, to elevate through evaluations in a way that is positive, that brings value, and does not make anyone feel like they ever failed. None of us failed here. It was a wonderful job. Kathy, I loved your table topics, as was just mentioned by Sandra. The one thing I don't think you noticed, it's hard when we're juggling flaming squirrels. E.T. wanted to do a table topic. It's always good to call on guests first, because, you could call on members for the snaps, but get the guests involved. We did not hear the wonderful voice of E.T. today, and I missed it. Technology, again, John mentioned it. Lynn, you came on early. You were talking to someone else, but you should have tried to put the slides on before the meeting started. And another key, you send them to us. We give them to the Zoom master. He will manage that for you. And then you can say next, next, next. And by the way, though we couldn't see your slides, unbelievably to us, to me at least, it did not matter. Your speech was that good. So don't get tied up in your underwear, a very unladylike thing to say, about not having your slides. It worked. You were great. I think that's all I want to add. And, one other thing. Instigate versus incite. I heard incite more than I heard instigate today. So Sandra, always keep putting the word of the day in the chat so that people get it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, for your quick closing remarks. We're never going to make it by 10:30 today, but I wanted to know if we could all start to fill the role for the next meeting after you're done, and then hear from our visitors first. Go ahead, Pamela.
I will keep it brief. Look what you instigated, Vicky, by starting this club. An incredible group. This was so beautiful. And God, I'd love to give lots of shouts out, but we don't have the time. So I will move it on to give you back to you. I will say, Lynn, yeah, I do want to echo that. You were fantastic. Please do come back and maybe even consider joining us and bringing those slides, because you are obviously incredible experiences, so much to share with us and all of you. So I want to just leave you guys with a quote. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more, from Oprah Winfrey. So I will hand it back to you, Madam President Vicky, to roundabout and maybe even hear from our guests.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to hear from our guests. Let's start with Celine. No, you're a member. It's not that I don't want to hear from you, Celine, but I gotta get all this straight. E.T., can we hear from you, please?
Oh, great speech, great evaluation, great team, great people. And yes, I'm going to sleep now. So yes.
Oh,
See you
thank
next
you for
time.
being here. You are always welcome, E.T., and we'd love to have you give a speech sometime, so let us know. Okay, everyone, and with
My
that,
pleasure.
thank you, E.T. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.